today I'm going to be showing you how to make potting mix. Two simple, different types of potting mix that you can make at your home that's not going to cost you a whole lot. Especially if you're doing a whole lot of planting flowers, you're going to need this recipe. So let's take a look what we got here. So we have perlite, azomite, stay green flower and vegetable garden soil, black cow, and peat moss. We also have cocoa coir, which actually comes in a cube for easy shipping. This right here has already been wet pretty much. I like to wet it and then let it sit overnight. It just makes it faster to be able to break up because it is coming into that little cube there. You will want something to mix your new potting mix up. Right here I have that because of the quantity I will be mixing up today. One mixture will contain peat moss, cocoa coir, compost. I'm using black cow, perlite, or you can use vermiculite, or both mixed together. You can also add azomite, which is a good type of mineral, or you can put in a slow release fertilizer or worm castings. Now the best method is use equal parts when it comes to your ingredients. One recipe will consist of flour and vegetable garden soil, which is 1 bag of that, 1 bag of black cow, and 1 bag of peat moss. Then you can also add azomite. You can also add worm castings or your slow release fertilizer. Also add about 2.5 to 3 quarts of vermiculite or perlite or mixed together. The other recipe is using 1 cube of cocoa oil, not cocoa coir, peat moss, and your compost, black cow. Also, again, your minerals or compost can be added with this azomite or worm castings, perlite, or vermiculite. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and get this cocoa coir wet and broken up because it comes very compacted. It comes very compacted, and so that's why I like to do it overnight because it's really compacted and hard pressed together. So you're just going to pour some water in there, maybe a bucket of water, or do like I'm doing and wet it really good. So we have all this amount right here that came from one little block. And the good thing about cocoa coir is that once it breaks down, it's going to help nourish your soil, your potting mix. One of the things you'll want is a container so that once you have everything mixed up, then you have a place to store it. The first recipe is going to contain of equal parts peat moss, one bag of peat moss, 1 bag of black cow, 1 bag of flour and vegetable garden soil, and about 2.5 to 3 quarts of perlite. Or you can mix it up as perlite and vermiculite, but I'm going to be using perlite. The first thing you want to do is take the peat moss and put it into your wheelbarrow or whatever you're going to be mixing it up into. Then take your black cow and mix it up real good. To save some money, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot or places like that and find bags that have been ripped a little bit. And at this point in time, you can get them for 50% off. So this bag right here costs like $7 and I think 50 cents, and I got it for $3.50. Also, black cow was the same way. This bag right here costs $5, almost $5. this bag right here, which has got a clear plastic bag over it now, and it had just a little bit left where people pulled it off the rack and tore the bag. I paid $2.50. The Pro Mix was the most expensive because it has gone up about 100% in price. It used to be $3.50. I got this at Walmart for $14. At Lowe's, it was $24. These two items right here was purchased off of Amazon. The next thing we're going to do is add our compost, our black cow. And as you can see, my wheelbarrow is small, so I've got a plan how I'm going to mix the rest of this up. So what you want to do is make sure that you mix your compost up real good. Try to break up any clumps as you're going. So I'm going to continue on mixing this up real good. So this here is a tarp that I laid out. This one I had laying around the house. This is my cow manure or my compost, and my heat moss. My next step on this is to add my flower and vegetable garden soil, and then I'll be adding the perlite. At this time, you can also add your any type of minerals, worm castings, slow release fertilizer. This is such a big quantity here. I'm going to add the azomite as I'm putting my plants into my container. That way, I'm not wasting any of it. I know exactly how much is going into my container. I think that's the wisest thing to do, because definitely this amount would take that whole bag. And that way, if I wanted to add a slow release fertilizer, my worm castings, or whatever type of fertilizer, Miracle Growth, or whatever I decide to use at that time, then I don't have to worry about it being over fertilized. So now all I'm going to do is add this to this, and I'm going to take my shovel and mix it together, and then I'm going to be adding the perlite. Now, you don't have to mix all this up at one time. You can you can have equal parts. So if you just want to take a 1/3 and 1/3 and 1/3, and you can do it that way. Good thing about this is that it already has a fertilizer in there. So really, I don't have to worry about so much as the fertilizer, because this does have some in there, but I will be adding the azomite and maybe some worm castings when I have some more that's produced. So we're just going to take the shovel and mix this up real good together. As you can tell, this is a big quantity. And this is a way to help save money in your garden needs. If you're like me, you plant a lot and you need a lot of this. So you just want to mix it up real good. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. Since I got it pretty good, what I'm going to do, since I'm mixing it, I'm just going to, and this right here, the wind will blow this everywhere. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start adding this in. Now you can add a little bit more of black cow if you want to this mixture. You can, if you wanted to, you could probably add 2 bags. I did add just a little bit more to this because that's what I wanted. When I was looking at this, I was like, you know what, I could add a little bit more. But a good rule of thumb is equal parts. Now when this is said and done, the tarp is laying here. My container probably will not hold all this, just about all of it, but I can always, when I mix up my second recipe, I can just take the tarp and lay over it so the wind won't blow it all over the place, and use it as I need. If you want to, you can add a little bit more perlite than this. I like more perlite. It helps with the moisture content. It also helps, you know, the soil not to get too wet. And so with the perlite, it holds in the moisture, but it also gives it space, the soil space, so that it can get plenty of air. So we pretty much got this mixed up real good. As I'm putting it in this container, I'm also still mixing a little bit, so that helps out as far as time and making sure it's mixed up real good. So all that did go into this container. This is a 45-gallon container. I have a lid over it, so now it'll help keep it moist some. I won't have to worry about the wind blowing it all over the place, and I've got my soil ready, my soil pottings mix ready for my containers here. So let me go with recipe number 2. You want to go with a container that has wheels on it, because this is pretty heavy. And you can move it to your location and have it sitting there ready for you to do all your potting needs. So now we're ready to do our next recipe, which is going to be consistent of cocoa coir. It's going to be consistent of your compost, black cow is what I'm using, and the perlite. Now, this cocoa coir, depends on where you get it from, sometimes comes a lot finer than this. You can also take what we already mixed up and add cocoa coir into that, and that will help out as far as your soil. It's going to give it a good, for your water to drain through. It's going to keep it moist. When it dries out, it's going to soak it up really good and help keep it moist longer. So we've already got our cocoa coir here wet and ready to mix up. So I'm just going to mix it up a little bit more. That's why I say, kind of if you do this overnight, then you're not spending a whole lot of time out here trying to get this to break up. I do notice some water in the bottom, so I definitely want to mix it up some more. It's not that much, but I think mixing it up is going to help it out a lot. Make sure that, all of it's kind of broken up. So we're going to we got 1 block of cocoa coir. Now sometimes these cocoa coirs come in smaller blocks. Most times they'll be half the size of that. So that you can kind of judge as far as how much compost you want to put into your new potting mix. Now this cow manure, black cow, is wet because we've had some rain. So it's really wet, and it should stick really good to this cocoa coir. All you're going to do is mix it up really good. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this up real good to the consistency that I want it at, and then we'll add the perlite. Now that we have this all mixed up really good, the texture is a little bit differently. If you wanted to, you could add your flower and vegetable garden soil even to this, but you have to remember this doesn't have any type of fertilizer into it besides the compost. Would that be enough? Yeah, I would think so, but I'm probably going to add some azomite to this, and I definitely like to add it to my container when I fill my container up and put a little bit, have my little hole, dig my hole, and then put some down there. You don't really have to measure it. Say maybe about 2 tablespoons. You just put it in the hole. You can cover it a little bit with dirt, and then you can put your flour in there. So now we're just going to take and work this perlite in. You don't want to, breathe this in. So I'm going to go ahead and continue mixing this perlite throughout this new potting mix. So we have our new potting mix already mixed up, and it looks wonderful. It's going to do dynamite. That's ready to go. One of the ideas, if you didn't have a container and you had some of these bags or maybe feed bags, then you could take and put your mixture into a bag, and that way you can have a place to store it. Now this azomite, A-Z-O-M-I-T-E, it has potash, it has calcium, it has magnesium. It's a water-soluble magnesium. And so it does really great. I would prefer to take, like I said, put it into my pot. That way I can judge exactly how much my plants are going to be getting. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If this helped you at all, give me a thumbs up. I'm so excited about this now. I've got my potting mix all mixed up, and I know what's in it. I know it's going to do dynamite. And before we leave, let's take a glance at the greenhouse and see how well my plants are actually doing. And I made that potting soil up in there. Oh, and another thing, if you wanted to, you could add a bag of topsoil. You can take and make this just kind of grow, expand it out more and more. Just use your own creative ideas. This way right here helps it to not to dry out. It also, it's got all, it's going to break down. It's going to make its own type of dirt. But this is just like the same mixture that you would buy into the store of different variety of bags. So let's go walk into the greenhouse. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you got any information you want to share with me, put it down into the comments and let me know how you do your potting soil needs. So guys, I'm so excited. These are my potatoes. They are a little over 60 days old, and so they are doing well also. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on to the next video. Leave me a comment if you're thinking about doing this soil mixture or soil mix recipe. I will call it a mixture because it's 2 recipes in 1 video. See you on to the next video. Thanks, guys.